Happy New Year. So glad you're here. Welcome back to my channel. Follow me over on Instagram at EMWILSS. I wanted to share with you today exactly what the title of this video says, the number one reason why I chose not to drink in high school and college. Now, my friend Father Mike has a great video on drinking and alcohol. I know some of you belong to faiths where drinking alcohol is forbidden totally, and I totally respect that. As a practicing Catholic Christian, drinking alcohol is permitted, but in moderation with wisdom and maturity. But drunkenness is obviously not permitted because that is condemned in the Bible as sin. So he just kind of unpacks the idea of alcohol and whether or not you should drink and this and that, and kind of expands more on that aspect that I'm not going to talk about directly today. It is no secret that drinking is a very popular thing in high school and college. When I was in high school and college, it's something that not everybody, but everybody seems to be doing. A lot of people I knew, they just lived for the parties and they lived for the weekends and they lived for drinking and they did it a lot. And it was just something that I chose not to participate in myself. And there is one word, the number one reason why I decided that that just was not something I was going to partake in high school and college. And that word is influence. Influence. I looked up a little bit of the meaning of the word online. It's a very popular word right now to talk about influencers, but what does it mean to influence? Online it says, as a verb, influence typically means to affect or change someone or something in an indirect but usually important way. Now, when I was 15, I took a driver's ed course. We had to sit in a little classroom and have this guy teach us. It was a couple of Saturdays. We took that course and we would have to take these multiple choice mock exams. And one of the questions was about alcohol and driving. And it said, what is the first thing that alcohol impairs that makes it really dangerous to drive? One option was hand-eye coordination, and one was your eyesight, and one was walking or something, and one was judgment. It impairs your judgment. And I chose one of the other ones, and the majority of the people in the class chose the other ones. And the answer was judgment, that the first thing it does is impair your judgment. And I remember as a 15-year-old, I was really surprised by that. That answer to that question, for some reason, really struck me. And I thought, wow, to have your judgment affected first before all things, that's a really serious thing. And so I got to thinking about social situations and how I wanted to approach them in high school and college, right? Because it's so easy to just do what everyone else is doing and go willy-nilly, but I really wanted to think about the decisions I made in my life, because every decision has consequences, positive or negative. So I really took a step back to see okay, how do I want to approach my social life as a woman in the world? Essentially, I broke it down to just pondering this question. What do you want in your life to be influencing the decisions you make in social situations? You yourself with a clear mind and heart, or some outside factor? And there's a lot of different outside factors that can play a part in that, but asking myself that question, do I want to be influenced by anything except myself, my clear mind, my clear heart, my ability to make decisions, what I really want as Emily? Or do I want to be influenced in those situations by something that's impairing my judgment, that's impairing me, that is causing me to maybe make a decision that with a clear mind and heart as myself, I wouldn't make? Because the reality was that when I got myself into social situations in high school or college, there were on a night of social activity, whatever that is, there are a lot of decisions to be made. And I just realized that it's who you're going to hang out with when you go out, who you're going to get in a car with, who you're going to talk to, where you're going to go. There's so many choices that you make. When you're hanging out with people, when you are going out to a party, whatever it is, there's so many decisions that you make in one night if you really stop to think about it. Now, mind you, I graduated college when I was 20, so I wasn't even of drinking age when I was in college, but that was my thought process, that I could go out and do lots of fun things. I have another video on the question of should you go to parties or not, but I had a lot of fun in my life, and I found a million different ways to have a great time and to have fun and to enjoy myself without drinking. And there were situations in my life where I would be around people who were drinking at, a football game or whatever that was, and I was able to stand strong in that, to say, I don't want this to affect me. I want to have fun today and make decisions as Emily, and I'm just gonna say no to anyone who offers me a drink. I also thought about the reality that can happen that when you start to drink in social situations, you can start to grow dependent on it for courage and like courage to be outgoing and talk to people. And I never wanted that to be something that I depended on, that influenced me to be courageous, that influenced me to be more outgoing or to get on the dance floor or whatever it was. And I wanted to learn how to be courageous in social situations myself. I wanted to build confidence in myself and not have alcohol be that confidence, that liquid courage that people talk about. I did not want that to be a factor in my life. I really wanted to grow as a person who knew how to engage with people in social situations, who can bust a move on the dance floor without a drop of alcohol and have a great time no matter what. So that's the number one reason. I always wanted to have that clear mind and that clear heart because I knew that I wasn't, perfectly mature as a person. I knew that I had, as everybody does, a desire to fit in and a desire to belong. And I wanted to make decisions not based on, those desires to belong and those desires to fit in, but decisions as myself. When it comes to making decisions, I want to make it abundantly clear that I understand and I have full knowledge that there are times in life where people are not able to make decisions and people make decisions for them, most especially in the cases of assault and rape. I want to be really, really clear on that there have been many, many times, tragically and horrifically, that either men or women haven't been able to make decisions themselves, that those decisions were made for them in those horrific acts, and that is not what I am talking about in any way, shape, or form. On many occasions, you and I do get to make those decisions, and those are the times that I am talking about, when we, in our own power, get to make decisions for ourselves. When I was 21, I did begin to drink alcohol, and you can reference that video again to see why and how I see that as permissible. In my 20s, I'm not gonna act like I'm some perfect angel. In my 20s, there were a few instances where I did drink too much, and what it did was made me feel sick and think, I really don't want to do that again because that really doesn't make me feel good. Not a happy situation. And so in my life, as I've grown in wisdom and maturity and gone through my 20s, I'm able to allow and partake in limited use of alcohol in my life, whether that's at weddings or celebrations or birthdays or gatherings, like social gatherings with friends. I am able to partake in that. Now, I'm not, drinking in social situations where I could probably make bad decisions. It's, with Daniel or with friends, with my family at Christmas and at weddings and things like that. But I take it very seriously because alcohol is a serious thing, because I want to make each decision in my life with clarity and wisdom and decisions that honor God. I strive to do that. And it's really important to remember that sometimes we make mistakes and we get to pick ourselves back up. The reality is that we're human, that you might make mistakes, that I made mistakes in this regard. And it's important to recognize that was a mistake. To, if you're a Christian, Catholic Christian, turn back to the Lord and begin again. That's a really important reality, that in all of these social things that are not the norm, when we're people, women mostly here, but some men, striving for virtue, that we're not always going to do it perfectly. And that when you stumble, I don't want you to think like, oh, I ruined everything. This is the path I'm going down. No, it's okay to say that was a huge mistake. I'm not going to do that again, and I'm going to begin anew today. I want you to remember that always, that it's never over. You can always, always, always begin again. The last thing I want to share in this video, again, there's a lot of branches, these are the ones I want to cover, is that if you decide not to drink alcohol in high school or college, which I absolutely 100% recommend, it was the best, one of the best choices I made, is that people will offer you drinks if you go to social situations where there are people who are drinking, like I said, like at football games, and it's perfectly good to say, no, thank you. And I want you to remember and understand that anyone who pressures you to say, oh, come on, just drink, that is not respectful or mature. And that you need to say no to that person. And you don't have to say, this is why I'm choosing not to drink, or this is why I'm saying no. You don't owe anyone an explanation for that, but you say no as many times as you need to. Do not give in because people are like, you're no fun, go with the flow, whatever it is, doesn't mean that you should cave, that it is good if you make this decision to say no as many times as you need to say it's just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna drink, so you can give up asking me now. Also, I want you to never be that person. Even if you're 30 years old, I don't know what age you are right now, but if you offer someone a drink and they say no, Take no for an answer. Stop right there. Listen to what they just said, N-O, and don't push it any further. A couple years ago, I was with some friends at like a pizzeria bistro, and it was with a number of people, and they were getting wine for the table, and one of my friends, he's a recovering alcoholic, and one of the women at the table didn't know, and she offered him a glass of wine, and he said, no, thank you, very politely, and she said, oh, come on, you know, we're all, he said, no, thank you, it's fine, and she must have asked him like 3 or 4 times. And I'm sitting there and I know this about him, and he obviously doesn't want to share that at a table with all of these people, but it was just, I was totally horrified. And she didn't know either, right? I don't think she was like meaning to cause harm or ill will, but I just think it's really important that you don't know what people have been through. You don't know what they're struggling with, and to take no for an answer the moment someone says it. So that's all for today. I just want to talk about these things that are real and difficult and outside the norm if you're trying to live a life that is really countercultural to what the world says is normal and accepted and cool. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel. That's all for today. I will talk to you soon. Bye.